I want to do a quick survey. How many of you are currently doing data science related profession? You can type yes or no in the QA and chat. Awesome. I see a lot of yes and no. Cool. So there is an old saying, data scientist is the sexier job of the 21st century. This actually was said in 2012. And 8 years passed. How did the job market look like? And is this still the most sexy job? Okay, so let's take a look. Based on the Glassdoor report on 25 highest paying job in US for 2019, we can find around 5 job positions directly related to data science, which are data architect, cloud engineer, data scientist, analytic manager, and the financial planning and the analyze manager. And on the top of those jobs, a lot of other positions such as site reliability engineer, attorney. We also heard they're giving us a response such as they need more data science. Like we're constantly talking to candidates from different background. We have seen JD, like law school PhD. We have seen MD, medical school PhD, wanting to come to the bootcamp because they have been telling us for opportunity in their field, it's not like hanging fruit. It's basically fruit on the ground if they know data science. That's why they're very motivated to learn more. So as you can tell, the salary opportunity are pretty awesome. The pay range it varied from 94K to 100K. And we commonly see a lot of positions related to this industry. One most quoted position is business analyst and data analyst. And you can find this kind of title in all different kinds of industry: marketing, healthcare, hospital, universities, tech giants. We also see more advanced positions such as data scientist, data engineer. And overall, you might have seen a lot of different kind of manager role. It can be director of data science, director of data analytics, director of business intelligence. But right now we're mainly focused on those 5 titles and want to see how they are changing around the pandemic time. So this is the typical career path we have observed for the past few years. Our school was established in November 2013, so we recently celebrated the 7 years anniversary. And we typically see people start with a data analyst, business analyst, or operational analyst position. Then based on how much work experience they had in past and how much academic credentials they had, they advance into data scientist, data engineer, cloud engineer. Then 4 years to 5 years later, they start to move into more managerial role, such as analytical manager, director of DS, which means data science, director of machine learning, and director of AI, artificial intelligence. So different kind of career paths require different skill. When you're at entry level, people most look for Excel and SQL skill. Sometimes the job description will also include such as Tableau, Power BI. They are more like drag and drop type of tool. Sometimes because of the data crunching, data munging need, the candidate also required to have preliminary Python and R skill. So when candidates get comfortable with more entry level and move to advanced level, they utilize much more Python and R. They might interact with SQL to get the fundamental data set. A lot of times they are asked to utilize their machine learning experience to build a forecasting model, to build anomaly detection model. Because of the complexity rise, so a lot of times they also ask to have big data exposure. They need to know how to extract data from Hadoop Spark. They need to know how to work with different data platform. We also see people coming from managerial role coming to our bootcamp to advance their domain knowledge, to understand how to make high-level data-driven business decision. So it's not uncommon. We have students who have varied from fresh out of bachelor degree, sit in the same class with executive manager from major Fortune 500 company. So since 2013, we have graduated more than 5,000 alumni through our full-time bootcamp program, our part-time professional development classes, and our corporate university program. So based on our understanding, this is our typical alumni background, and that also asked by the job market now. They typically ask for a minimum bachelor degree, master or PhD degree from science engineering background, sometimes liberal arts and non-traditional related degree would be considered. It really depends on how open-minded the team is. Most of the candidates are coming from STEM major, which means science, technology, engineer, and math. As I mentioned, we also see more highly achieved individual from law school, medical school, and liberal arts majors. And they might have different level of work experience. We have seen people fresh out of school have less than 2 years work experience, 2 to 5 years work experience, 5 to 10 years work experience, and over 10 years work experience, more from executive level. Okay, here I want to walk you through some typical student background. You can see Bachelor of Accounting, Bachelor of Business Econ, Computer Science major, Industrial Engineer, Master in Finance, Bachelor of Applied Math Statistics, Master or PhD in Physics, Master of Public Health, MBA, PhD from Chemical Engineering, Material Engineering, PhD of Applied Math, Bachelor Biology, Econ Bachelor, Applied Math. Political Science major student also come to the program. They have the in-field experience. They also want to strengthen their analytical skill. And we have like people from very super computational background, like computation finance from CMU, biology, chemistry. We have seen a lot of students have double master, like master in art, master in public health. We have seen students coming from like top consulting company like McKinsey. The company sponsored the employee come to the bootcamp. Engineering, bachelor in Russian, PhD in English, master in psychology, PhD of biochemistry from Cambridge, information system, like related major like computer science, PhD of applied physics from Harvard, MBA from Yale, Bachelor of Political Science and Econ, and Bachelor of Finance, land a job in L'Oreal as Senior Manager of Business Intelligence. We have seen company paying their employee coming to the bootcamp, like Mario. He actually worked at Paris Facebook team before he joined the bootcamp. So he did half of the program in Paris, the other half in New York. We have seen people get into fintech like Better.com. We have seen people get into nonprofit, public goods. We have seen people get into Victoria is very interesting alumni. He actually coming from filming major, dramatic arts, and land a job in Radish fiction. And we have seen students join like Bloomberg from a chemistry, engineering background, and cybersecurity background get into financial group. So you can tell our students actually coming from very different background. You can see a water resources engineer, software engineer, finance management. It's really good mix of the background so people can brainstorm, come up different approaches. And we've been enjoying the mix of different work experience, different domain knowledge, and expertise greatly from our alumni network. Some students go for big company like Bayer, one of the biggest pharmaceutical company. Some students will go for the big tech company like Google. We also have seen students go to like big international Fortune 100 company, SGS. So it's really a good mix of everything. And out of the concern of our future student and their career advancing, we've been tracking what kind of impact the pandemic has brought to the data professional job market. Let me check. Okay, so what are the research we have done? So we have been tracking the job market since April 1st. So every 2 weeks, we are generating a bi-weekly report of the job market outlook and share with alumni. We start to send out our very first report from April 14. And along the way, we track it for 3 months. We feel like, we see the market has stabilized a little bit, and we stopped for 2 months. And recently, our student told us this job tracker is really helpful and want us to continue to do it. So we resumed the job tracking from September 16th. Our main research focus is we want to know the job security of the data-related profession. We are measuring the security based on the number of professions who are holding the position using the particular 5 job title. We also are tracking the number of job openings from different job titles. So most of our students are looking for a job in New York area or San Francisco Bay Area. So we particularly care about those 2 areas. Here is a quick track sheet. So this is tracking how many job opening in New York area. So as you can tell, I just want to mention, we might update the algorithm around September 16 for business analysts. So I cannot tell for sure if this data is accurately reflect the market. So if you can exclude those 5 data points in this report, that would be awesome. But I'm including it for a reference. As you can tell, the job market didn't shrink much. Instead, it's quite stable. It's marginal different. Like for data scientist job, you see very little change over the past 7 months. Data engineering, analytic manager. So we always do a comparison to the last 2 weeks cycle. So when the pandemic first hit the market, we saw a big drop, ranged from 27 to 41%. Then the market get recovered, especially the data scientist job. It's recovered from 370 to 458. We also see recovery around the data engineering job post. Then along the way, we see, more recovery on the data engineering side, more recovery on the data analyst side and business analyst side. So we were doing bi-weekly updates based on the job cycle. So if you compare the starting point to the ending point, it's very, very small difference. And we're also tracking how many people claim they're holding these positions. So in New York, around 20,000 professionals saying they are business analysts. About 10,000 people are saying they're data analysts. About 5,000 people are data scientists, and about 2,500 are data engineer, and around 1,600 are analytic manager. It actually gives you a good career trajectory, how people are advancing across the career path. So you have the biggest population base around the analytic entry level job. So business analyst combined with data analyst is around 30,000 people in New York City alone. Then data scientist is about one fourth of the number, so around no, 1/6 of the number, around 5,000. And data engineer is more focusing on data ETL and prepare data for data scientists. It's require certain level of software engineer skill. So on the top of data science, you also need to be good at software engineer. This market is a little bit smaller compared to the data scientist, but you can see it has been a major growth, 10% more since the beginning of the pandemic. So you can see almost 300 to 400 increase in this job category. Analytic manager roughly stayed the same. So if you look at the total number of analytic manager divided by total number of the entry level job, you can see a very small percentage people advance to analytic manager at this time point. And we typically see it takes at least 4 years to 5 years to advance to the most senior role in the industry. So the number actually validate our observation. So when you take this slide, I also put some simple data interpretation. Basically, based on the number in April 29th, 2020, you can see this many professionals currently have certain level and what's the corresponding job opening. So we also start to track San Francisco from June. So you can tell different area have different preference across data scientists or data professionals. So San Francisco have much lower percentage. They're asking for business analysts, data analysts, but they have a higher demand for data scientists and data engineer. While New York have more demands for business analysts, data analysts, and analytic manager. So the trend was kept pretty consistent. And we also want to see the job security in both region. So if you compare the number, like business analyst, 100, less than 100 more now, data analyst, about 200 more now, data scientist, about 200 to 300 more, data engineer, 300 more. Analytic manager, roughly the same. Okay, so it seems like the market was hit heavily during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, but it recovered and get expansion gradually along the way. I typically see 5% to 10% across different titles. And we're only tracking those 5 titles at this moment. From time to time, we'll also look into company trajectory. So basically, we're tracking how many data scientists in individual companies. We'll also track how many data scientists in different industries. So I didn't include the more detailed breakdown for industry and company, but the overall summary statistics should give you a good sense of how overall the market is moving. Okay. So conclusion to today's topic, we have found the job-related market offer great job security. We see very minimum job loss in this field. And based on the data since April, we also see a very quick recovery in the job openings. And we see quite different preference and need in data profession in San Francisco, Bay Area, and in New York. Also, Glassdoor have shared a nationwide high-paid job rank for data-related jobs. As we know, like most of the company are working from home now, and most of our alumni are telling us it's not impacting their work much. And through our past 7 years experience, we see more openings and higher pace among our alumni across all different industries. We haven't seen any single individual come to us and say, oh, my industry is shrinking, they don't need data scientists anymore. It's quite opposite. Everyone come back to say, my team is hiring more, my company need more data scientists, need more data engineer, need more data managers. Do you guys have more candidate you can place into our company? So that's the overall message we received. If you have a more specific question about different industry, I'm happy to answer question. Like in our bootcamp, we see roughly about 30% of the candidates coming from finance. About 10 to 15% of the student are from academic. So we see a lot of postdoc from like neuroscience, from English major, from econ major want to transition out of their particular academic field. So if you have particular industry interest or particular background, I welcome any question related to the job market. And I believe Taris has shared the link to the alumni page. It also gives you a good amount of information. How does our alumni advancing their career path? Because we offer the linking link to their profile. So you can see maybe the first 2 years they were doing this job, then they transition to a new job, then they become more senior. Okay, I'm looking at the questions. I will start from the bottom. Dan has a question. What options do you see from a career progression as a data scientist? I think Dan, are you currently a data scientist now? So that could be many things. Based on your own industry expertise, I have seen students move around different industries. For example, they might coming from an investment bank background. After being a data scientist at JP Morgan or Wells Fargo, they move into hedge fund. They want to do quant. They want to do trading using data science. That consider our advancement because the job is more demanding, the pay is better. We also have seen people move from like consumer side to more technical side. So we have student working HM, we have student working L'Oreal, we have student look for Coach, for Michael Kors, all kind of consumer goods. They might move into Facebook, they might move into Disney, they might move into Google. So with more data backup to do data-driven decision, they have more freedom. I see a question above then. From my experience, how long it typically takes someone from software engineer and quality engineer background to land a job? So we typically see students who have software engineer or quality engineer student land a job within 3 months, but sometimes students get pickier because as a software engineer, you already get well-paid job. When you put the investment, the time and money investment into this new career switch, they tend to be pickier. We have seen students didn't take offer till the 10th offer came in. So for students wait long and want the dream job, it usually between 6 to 9 months. Or if students are willing to take the first few offers, they typically get placed within 3 months with CS background. We have a question where the data is sourced from. Right now, this data is completely based on linking data reports. We used to scrape Monster, Indeed. We also scrape from ZipRecruiter. We find a lot of overlapping, so we decided to only go with linking dataset. Okay, so question. What kind of guidance can you give to a zero experience data science adult coming from very liberal arts field, what experience in software license with experience in software licensing. That's interesting. I haven't seen any student coming from liberal arts with software licensing experience. So I would just speak out of the experience working with art major. So we have graduate PhD of English, we have graduate people compete like art major, Rusty, Rhode Island Design School, and we have graduate student from film school. So from my experience, as long as you can learn the coding skill and you develop a data-driven thinking strategy, and you can prove you can do the job, come up with a good portfolio to do what require a job. I don't see a huge difference between liberal arts major and the STEM major student to enter the entry-level job. Even student coming from more STEM major, they have a little bit advantage over liberal arts major. Typically, it really depends on how much effort you put into the bootcamp and learn the new skills quickly. I saw a question, how can material from bootcamp help someone transition to quantitative finance if they have experience in finance? We have seen over 10 students get into hedge fund at this moment. So a lot of them tell us their company are using Python. They're using a lot of NumPy, SciPy. So it really helps them to transition from intensively coding in Excel, macro, into Python coding. So also the exposure to Hadoop and Spark are really helpful. The web scraping experience are super helpful because like hedge fund, quantitative finance are looking for different signal from the market. So they might scrape SEC website, they might scrape all different news website to capture the signal. Okay, I see question, what kind of jobs are open surrounding data science with individual with communication, liberal arts major? I would say if you have the skill, you are free to go any industry. You're not limited in liberal arts or communication related background. So like the student I mentioned have art major in Rhode Island Design School. He actually become a data engineer in Samsung. So, but we do see people have strong communication skill are the ones first get job. Because in data science, it's very easy to find people who can do the technical job, but probably need a little bit more polish around the presentation skill. So if you can demonstrate both skill, it's very marketable. How much percentage of people find a job within the first month or so? The past 10 months has been slow because I think most of the company are in the low energy saving mode. No one know how the market will shift. So we typically see 20 to 30, but I think the past 10 months, it's around roughly 10 to 15. I don't know. I need to look at the data more closely. But I certainly see a slowdown in finding the job within the first month. What sort of project should one put on their portfolio when they don't have the background? So in this bootcamp, we're focusing on developing a full portfolio to present your skill in data science. So we start with a data exploration, data cleaning, data munging project, and you're gonna build an interactive dashboard using RShiny. Then we move to Python. You're gonna do a web scraping project, get and save your own data and work with it to do data exploration. Then we move on to a machine learning project in Kaggle. The final capstone project, you can choose to do another Kaggle or come up with your own topic, or we have a lot of corporate sponsored project. So you can do real world project. What are the people looking when they hire? So we work with more than 500 hiring partners in New York City alone. They are familiar with what we teach. they are familiar with what our student can deliver after the program. So they typically looking for good people who can pull the job off. And we have very intensive interview process. We want to make sure the culture fit is there, the work ethic is there, the motivation to learn and to adapt to a high pressure environment is there. So most of the hiring partner are very familiar with what kind of candidate we can provide to them. So they're more looking for industry match, interest match, and motivation match. I see a question. Do you see folks switching career into data science from non-software background? Yes, we see people switching into data science with all sorts of background. We probably see a few students from PhD or computer science or master of computer science, but it's not the majority of the audience. I would see more students coming from physics, math, statistic background than software engineer background. Another question, how many students proceed with career in tech on MI, machine learning, AI? So we didn't see that many students land such an advanced degree. We had a student who got PhD of physics from NYU, land a job in Google Brain. And we also have seen a student who finished data science master from Rutgers and then came to our bootcamp. And he joined the Amazon Alexa group. And he's the only one who don't have a PhD degree in relevant field. So while our bootcamp help you significantly improve the job perspective, but typically the AI or machine learning position in technology company require PhDs in CS or PhD in physics. We can help you together, but the chance is low. If you've been working in industry for a few years, then you really can open the door for most advanced position in this field. What option do you see for career progressing? I think bootcamp is a great way to progress your career. We have seen students coming from consulting background get into big data. We have seen people have done a lot of database, get into data engineering. We have seen students coming from more organizational consulting background become more technical. So it's really so many avenues you can progress into data science. The most key thing is to have the skill to code, to analyze data, and be able to solve a problem from end to end. I saw a question about, do you also help in finding a job placement as well? Yes, we do. Our school will help with job placement after graduation. We offer a lot of job sessions around how to build your portfolio, your resume, how to network, how to force the conversation around job. And we do resume revision, cover letter revision, elevator pitch practice. So there are a lot of activity arranged around getting ready to apply. We also connect alumni to allow our students to have an early on conversation about what kind of jobs they should apply, what's the best strategy to position themselves. What industry have the best opportunity for accountants looking for entry level? I don't really see a limitation for accounting major. So by my best knowledge, accounting major students are getting into all different kind of industry. So the new skill you gain through the bootcamp really open a lot of doors for you. If you have extra domain expert, you definitely can look into more like fintech related job, which usually require good accounting knowledge, but definitely they're not limited to fintech or finance. Okay, so what kind of commitment is required to finish the bootcamp, especially when you work 9 to 5 jobs? So as Manisa mentioned, we offer full-time 3 months program, full-time 4 months program, and part-time 6 months program. So if you're working 9 to 5 hours, we have seen students taking the 4 months program and the 6 months program. We typically require you to put minimum 20 hours, ideally 30 to 40 hours effort into the bootcamp study. Because the whole bootcamp gonna takes you around 600 hours to finish. Our goal is not just spoon feed you. We want to enable you to learn on your own, feel confident to find answer, and understand the process to get things done. We are not teaching you just for the next year. We want to bring you to the level you can continue grow for the next 5 years. Does this program assist with obtaining any special certificate as AWS Big Data? At this moment, we don't. But if you have special interests, you want to obtain special certificate, we encourage you to do that. There are different questions on liberal arts jobs. Are these data scientists, lawyers, sales representative, organization, psychologists, other field in the data science? So we typically see people coming from more highly trained professions such as JD. They get into related job. For example, 2 our JD students get into SEC. So they are trying to detect the signal of internal trading using data science and legal practice. So it's a good combination of your past experience and the current new gain experience. Who are the main competitor of NYC Data Science Academy? What makes us stand out from them? I think we are a very small boutique school. We are treating students and staff as family. We're not driven by the revenue or profit. We more care about individuals' future. And because we're not like big merchandise company, we have much fast turnaround time. If there are new product release coming to the market, new package release coming to the market, we can shorten the turnaround time within a week, which the big merchandise company cannot do. And our approach to curriculum is quite different. We work with industry experts to bring domain knowledge into the curriculum, while most of the merchandise company, they will hire a consulting company, make the slides, make the coursework for them, then repeatedly sell them across the country. So we are proud ourselves being an in-field domain expert. We also do consulting on the side while we're teaching. Most of the teachers spend less than 30% on teaching. The rest of the time are for research, R&D, and consulting. So that's another main difference we have compared to our competitors. Given the variety of the background of the individual you mentioned, what level of coding skill need to be demonstrated? We want to see how you think. So even you haven't coded before, the ability to think through a question is more important. You can write your idea how to solve it instead of directly code the solution. So I wouldn't be necessarily worried too much if you never code before. We're looking for a problem solver. What's the cost of the program? Is there a different program you have? So all of our programs are priced the same. We offer the same level of support. The cost is 17,600. There's no difference between any program we're offering. For the student who attend the bootcamp without prior experience, does that hinge them in job search? I don't think so. Because it's a huge transformation for you if you really put 600 hours of work into learning this new field. We have seen undergrad who have no experience, did really awesome compared to someone have CS background but didn't put that much effort into the program. So I would say the program make a huge difference in your future career path if you do put the effort, learn what we are teaching in the program. And a lot of students demonstrate their fast learning abilities through taking the bootcamp. So there's a student asking, how common is that for students without master or PhD degree to get a data scientist job right after the program? I think the main differentiate point about who getting data scientist job or who are getting data analyst job wasn't the degree. It's mainly the project and the skills they demonstrate through the job interview. I recall there was a company interview 2 bachelor degree students and 3 PhD. They end up going with the 2 bachelor students because in the interview process, the PhD student tend to run super sophisticated model and they didn't end up finishing it. But the undergrad candidate did a more thorough and comprehensive solution. And that's what the hiring manager look for. They don't want to see half done work. So I think have advanced degree is a huge advantage, but if you only have bachelor degree, but you can have strong communication skill, you can have strong technical skill, it doesn't stop you from getting a data scientist job. I remember in 2015, we had a student coming from psychology major, master of psychology, never coded before. He got a job from Spotify on the last day of the bootcamp. And 5 years passed, he already become a data science manager at Spotify now. And he was a teacher for psychology in high school for over 8 years before he joined the bootcamp. So as a non-technical background, people can land data scientist job in major IPO company and become a data scientist manager. I think it's already proved like non-STEM major, less traditional background can succeed in this domain. Yes, we actually have seen a lot of students who finished data science program came to the bootcamp. A lot of them learn a lot of academic experience in traditional company, traditional university. Like we have seen students finish Columbia program, NYU program, Rutgers program come to the bootcamp because they're really utilizing and advancing their career using more in-field coding skill. We also see students who finish the bootcamp get into data science program because they probably coming from non-technical background. It's really, really hard for them to compete with other candidates. So they would come to the bootcamp and apply for data science master program or PhD program. What is the advantage of learning both Python and R as most of other programs only focusing on language? So as a data scientist, if you have a broad touch on different coding language, you understand things deeper. For example, if you use linear regression in R, and get to see how Python utilizes it, it really helps you. For example, the Google search engine team only use R. They translate the R code into C++ compiler code. So if you know both languages, it's not limiting your job opportunities. And R and Python each have its advantage. R is great for prototyping. Python is great for production line. For full-time program, it's 40 hours. For part-time, it's 20 to 30 hours. But we do see students put more than this amount of time. Question around does the program host any network event online for students who look for jobs? Is student looking for a particular industry? Do you put them in touch with alumni in their industry of interest? So we've been trying very hard to run online events, but most of the hiring managers tell us at this time point, they are very conservative about hiring, so they don't want to come to a virtual job fair. So they're more willing to accept resumes if we find good, suitable candidate. So since pandemic, we didn't run any big job fair as we usually do as in-person environment. But we have been matching job opportunities and openings with the candidate directly. And we surveyed the students about their industry interest in the beginning of the program. Yes, if we see a good fit, we will ask alumni, are they willing to speak with the new candidate and match them for mentorship opportunity. We have a student ask, I will be starting the bootcamp in January since I'm looking to work immediately after. Do you think I should open my LinkedIn profile, start applying after the second project? Would that be enough experience? I highly recommend you not to do it. So many of our students told us they were so anxious about looking for a job, but finishing the second project is not necessarily putting you into the best position you can for job application. We ask you to be patient, finish everything, then apply. One of our admission counselor mentioned we might come. Yes, so we are actively seeking for national accreditation at this point. We expect we can potentially get accredited in 2021. Tax benefit, I'm not sure. You should probably consult your tax consultant. In the past, we haven't seen any tax benefit. I saw a question about the age range. We have seen students range from 19-year-old to 60-year-old at this moment. We have seen siblings come to the bootcamp, like brother. We have seen brother came to the bootcamp. I've seen sister and brother came to the bootcamp. We have seen fiance came to the bootcamp. We almost seen a father and a son come to the bootcamp. So we have seen a lot of family members came to the bootcamp at different time point. There is a question about younger students have higher chance. I don't think so. I think it's less about age. Like it's a whole package. If you find someone easy to work with, have strong communication skill, have a good culture fit, have good work ethic, have the skills required by the job, most likely they're gonna be hired the earliest. There is another question about, have you had any student who came to the bootcamp after taking a long break from their previous career? Yes, we have seen a lot of stay-at-home mom who take a break for like 5 to 7 years. They have to take care of the kids, then they want to come back to the career, the new career world. So I wouldn't say all of them succeed. It's pretty much based on 2 criteria. So before you take the long break, what you have done. So one of the students was working in one of the major consulting company. And after she did the maternity leave and raised the kid, she landed a big data engineer job in Fidelity, which because multiple facts. She is a strong presenter. She was very technical before she took the long break. But we also have seen 1 or 2 candidates who has been home for more than 15 years. So they didn't break into the full-time career market right away. They start by doing volunteer job for nonprofit, then taking on small consulting project for them to getting into the industry. So it really depends how much you have done, how much preparation, and how strong your skill and communication became at the point you're looking for a job.